Fractions and decimals. We have been discussing how fractions and decimals are interchangeable. So you have to remember that a fraction and a decimal can be used to represent the same thing, a piece or a part of a whole. When we're talking about the word interchangeable, that means that you can change back and forth. Something that you're pretty familiar with is there are 4 quarters in a dollar. So if you have 1 quarter, you have 1/4 of a dollar. We also know that 0.25 represents 1 quarter. 25 cents is a fraction of the dollar, but it's in decimal format. So 1/4 and 0.25, which is 25 hundredths, is interchangeable. They both mean the exact same thing, and we can check that on our calculator like we practiced in class. We would say 1, which is the numerator, divided by the denominator, and that does equal 0.25. 4 pieces in a dollar would be 1/4 of a dollar, which is 1/4. We're going to look at tenths, hundredths, and thousandths today. The reason these are the easier ones to work with is because they are in the powers of 10. You don't have to go using the calculator. You can actually just look and be able to write it and identify what it is in fraction format and what it is in decimal format. So I'm looking at this and I can see that this is cut up into 10 pieces. So when I'm writing fraction, that would be my denominator. This is my total number of pieces. How many pieces are shaded would be my numerator. So this fraction is 3/10. When we were using this with decimals, we would put, there's no whole pieces, so we put our 0 down. There's 3 pieces, and we know that that is the tenths place. So 3/10 in fraction format is interchangeable with 3/10 in decimal format. It's really easy because all you have to do is look at the denominator, tells me tenths, so that tells me where that number should be when I'm writing it in decimals, because we know our decimals go tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. Those are our 3 places that we have to know behind the decimal. Okay, so anytime you look at the tenths, you can count how many pieces total, and that's your denominator. You can count the individual pieces, and that will get you your fractional part that you're talking about in regards to the whole piece that you cut up. When these two are interchangeable, they mean the exact same thing. Alright, now let's switch over to our hundredths. How do I know this is hundredths? Because if I counted every single one of these pieces, there would be 100. So to write a fraction, I know there's 100 pieces. I count how many are shaded. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5 hundredths. When we write that as a decimal, we have nothing whole right now. This is in the hundredths place, so this is my tenths place, my hundredths place. That's where the 5 goes. I have to stick something there. I have to put a 0 to hold the place. So 5 hundredths is the same thing as 0.05, which is 5 hundredths. We say them exactly the same. They look different, but they are the same representation of this model right here. Thousandths, a little bit harder to see. That's why I made it a little bit bigger. We know there are 1,000 pieces, and if you want to count them, go for it, but just trust me, it's 1,000 pieces. We're going to count how many pieces that were actually shaded in. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. So that is 7 thousandths. That's what the fraction of that is. To turn that into a decimal, I have no whole pieces. This is in the thousandths place, so there's 3 zeros, so I should be 3 places behind the decimal. I should have a 7 in that thousandths place, and I have to fill in the zeros. So these two mean the exact same thing. And I can even go back and check that on your calculator to prove to you. If I said the first one was 3/10, so I divide 3 divided by 10. And look at that, 0.3, 3/10. They mean the exact same thing. The next one we had was 500, so we do 5 divided by 100. Look at that, 0.05, just like we modeled. And we had 7. We're going to divide that by 1,000 because that was what place we did if we counted all those little pieces. And look at that, 0.007, 7 thousandths. Okay, what we're going to do now on the student side, we're going to practice some, and we're going to see if we can change them from either a fraction format to a decimal or from a decimal to a fraction. So on your student side, I want you to write down these 4 problems, and we are going to do them, okay? We are going to put the equal sign because they are equal. They look different, but they're equal. All right. How I'm going to attack this. This is tenths, so I know it's going to be a 1 digit behind the decimal because that is my tenths place. What number do I see in my numerator? I see a 9. So that's how I'd write 9/10. 9/10 as a fraction, 9/10 as a decimal. Okay. Now I am already in a decimal. I have to turn it into a fraction. Well, the decimal is how many pieces. So 23 would be my numerator. And then I have to count the places to see what I'm going to put as my denominator. This is my tenths place and my hundredths place, so I put 100. Wherever it ends up, that is the place name that I put, which gives me the value there. Okay, try to turn this fraction into a decimal now. Push pause, and then you can check. All right, in my numerator, there's 990 pieces. I need to do it into the thousandths place, so the thousandths is 3 decimal places behind the decimal. That's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. My number is 990, and therefore I have a fraction that names 990 thousandths and a decimal that names 990 thousandths. Try this decimal by yourself. Push pause. Okay, I see 1 piece, which would be my numerator. This is my tenths, hundredths, thousandths, so I put down 1,000. 1,000th, 1,000th.